Welcome back to the first ever JJK Chronicles.
Yep. First time around the block. We're glad you guys came back.
I am Ronny.
And I'm Chatty.
And what we've got here is a Jujutsu Kaisen podcast.
JJK, some people
stepping
call it.
back in the box. We got a new show. How are you feeling, Chad?
I am feeling terrific. This coffee that I have in my left hand is stronger than ever. I don't know what they did to this thing.
What happened?
It feels like they literally grabbed the beans and just stuck it in the water.
A bean water, love it. So, if you're new around here, which is quite possible since new shows bound to attract new listeners, like I said, I'm Ronny, he's Chad. We're going to do a Jujutsu Kaisen podcast. Let's just take care of some housekeeping stuff, let you know what's going on with this podcast. Let's start by saying this. While we're professional podcasters, we are not professional show watchers.
No, we are not. And this is our second show for all you newbies out there. Go listen to our first one, the AOT Chronicles, number one worldwide.
Yeah, we have full coverage of Attack on Titan if that's something that you're into. But, Attack on Titan's on hiatus. We got to find a new show. A lot of hype building up for this JJK stuff. So here we are. And we'll go ahead and start by saying this. In no way, and I can't stress this enough, in no way are we experts on Jujutsu Kaisen.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I'm getting there.
As a matter of fact, we built up our little small listener base, and we started watching Jujutsu Kaisen to make sure that it's something that we want to watch. And they decided, we got a lot of feedback saying, hey, you guys should cover it episode by episode. So we actually haven't even seen the full season.
No. I don't even think we've seen half of it.
No, I've seen, and by the way, if you're new around here, you're hearing a lot of stuff going on. I believe when I came into the studio, your mom was playing bowling. With
Wii bowling or?
Well, it wasn't really Wii bowling. She actually had a basketball, which, not a bowling ball, and had set up some cleaning products and was rolling them across the kitchen.
Lordy.
So there's a lot of banging. Now it sounds like she might be filling up some water. But there's a lot of background noise. We're sorry about that. We're doing what we can. And what was I talking about?
You're talking about Wii bowling, I think.
Okay. So no, we're not experts in the show by any means. If you feel like we missed something, let us know. We like to think of ourselves as just your friends that you're holding hands with, watching and talking about a show that you like.
And just let us know if we miss it. Most of the time, I don't miss it. I have it in my notes, but I've got such high, what do you call it, expertise level of notes that I don't cover all of it in the pod because it's so much.
Right. So with that being said, let's just get into this thing.
Let's do it.
So we got Season 1, Episode 1, and before we actually get into it, after I just said let's get into it, I'm very scared of names in this show. I feel like we're drowning in syllables. So early on, before we get into a bad habit, now is the time to make any corrections on how you feel like we should say things, and if there's nicknames for certain characters that have these 20-syllable names, you got to tell us about it.
Yeah, please spell out how to say the name.
But this episode, I believe, is called Ryomen Sukuna.
Oh. Huh?
What? How are you?
Is that how you say it?
Sukuna?
Yeah. Let's roll with it.
What do you think?
Sukuna.
I don't think it is.
All right, it might not be. I have no idea. I just wanted to laugh and make it seem like you said it completely wrong.
This one, I'll be honest. I watched a YouTube video, and the guy said, Sukuna.
I was going to say Sukuna, like Acuna.
Sukuna Matata?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is going to be our worst podcast yet.
Is it ramen or Ryomen?
Strap it on. What'd you say?
Ramen?
Not ramen. Okay, we start up with our character waking up in quite a predicament that, Chaz, you've actually found yourself in more than once. He's beaten, tied up in a room, lit exclusively with lanterns, and a lot of pieces of paper hung in various ways, which always means trouble.
Yeah, and there's a blindfolded man there.
Yeah, we have another...
Shit's getting a little kinky.
That's what I meant. Position you found yourself in many times. Another guy in the room who obviously we have to like because, as you said, blindfolded, really cool white hair, sitting backwards in his chair. I mean, what else could they have done to make this guy cooler?
Yeah, when you're sitting backwards in your chair, you're either A, hitting on a girl in 9th grade, or B, you're just a badass.
And I believe he is a badass. This show's just meant for you. Let's just start by saying that you often find yourself blindfolded in a dark room with other men. That's just what...
Well, no, not other men. Most of the time, it's women. Most of the time. So this is a peculiar situation, though.
We learn that the blindfolded gentleman is named Gojo Satoru.
Yeah.
And he says he's in charge of the first years at Jujutsu High. Really let that part sink in, Chaz. Jujutsu high school.
Yep.
Wherever we go from here in this podcast, be extremely careful.
Well, this guy is in charge of them, so we don't have to be careful when it comes to him.
But he's around a high school, which makes me think we're going to be around a high school, so I'm going to need you to tread carefully.
And I can't help but, when you say his name Gojo, is that just a play on the word dojo? Because a dojo and a goat, like...
Hey, and it's awesome notes like that you come to the Podcast Chronicles for. He had been thinking about that all night long, and here it is in the pod. You know what, Chaz? I don't know.
Wow, I thought you would have came with a better answer than that.
So Gojo asked this other guy which one he is right now. Huh?
Yeah, they've been role-playing. I've been here before.
The young lad tied up is named Itadori Yuji, who is informed that he will be secretly executed, and then they kill him and the show's over. And, all right,
there we go.
That was the first ever episode, last ever episode. Bad joke. And we go to the OP, Chad, as our music expert. What did you think of this opening credits sequence?
I thought it was a decent song. I didn't think it was anything spectacular, nothing poor. But I did think the artwork was great. And Panda.
Of course, I mean...
There's a panda in it. How could you not like it when there's a damn panda in the intro?
Yeah, of course you would go with the most basic bitch thought of, oh, look at the panda running across a roof.
You didn't think that was cool. You knew exactly what he was doing, didn't you?
Meaning running across a roof? Yeah, I saw it.
You liked it. You wouldn't have remembered that if it didn't leave an everlasting impression on you. It's a panda man.
I am actually more cultured, and I'll tell you who I was most intrigued by, because we see a bunch of characters in this first the opening credit sequence. I'm going with the person with the long white hair licking blood off their thumb, and they also have some sort of mark all over their face, and I feel like they have fangs.
You feel like they have fangs?
I just I felt like they had fangs.
Yeah, but
do you know who I'm talking about?
But did you see the panda?
But do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about.
Listen, everyone saw the panda. Not everyone saw my cool, shady character licking blood off the thumb just real quick and smiling seductively. We come out of the OP here, and as far as I liked it, I thought it was very casual. I think you're downplaying the song too much. I can definitely jam to it.
I'm not downplaying it.
And we presumably flash back to see Itadori at home calling to check on his grandpa. A nice nurse says she will go check on him, where she is met with a bunch of just unnecessary yelling from a grumpy old man.
Well, how about Itadori's using one of those dial spinny wheel phones from like the 1950s? Did you catch that?
I love a good what'd you call it, a dialing spinny thingy?
A dialing spinning wheel phone.
Those are the kind of phones where I've never been honored enough to actually make a call from my whole life.
Do you remember our buddy back in the day that used to have one of those?
I think I got to know which buddy that you're talking about.
With the old house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to make a call from there one time.
Really?
Yeah.
And you got to use the spinny thing?
I got to use the spinny thing. It only took me like 10 tries.
It seems like you got to be real perfect to get that thing out into the service lines. So the old man's telling the nurse to tell Itadori not to come, but that he should go to his club instead. So naturally, Itadori says he will be by tomorrow evening because he's a good grandson.
This guy is grumpy, man.
He's very grumpy. But I think he's one of those guys who's going to be around for a long time, and we're going to come to love him. So we'll see what his character.
And he's playing the grumpy part just to hide his true emotions. I've seen it before.
So we cut over to a high school that, listen, I'm gonna be honest, I refuse to learn the name of this thing until it becomes important for me to do so, because it was the longest name I've ever seen for a high school, and I'm already very intimidated by the names, like I said earlier. We meet a new character. It's nighttime. How would you describe this guy's vibe?
This guy...
Very punk hair.
He's got the punk black hair.
Black cloak on.
Black cloak on.
All right, so that's how Chad would describe this guy's vibe. Excellent work.
No, you know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of like a half goth. Mm-hmm. He's a half gothish man. He's not a full
gothish man.
He doesn't have like the Satan earrings or anything like that, but he's got the gothy vibe going on.
All right. So he strolls up under the moonlight and panders to himself how dumb these people are for keeping a cursed object here. But alas, he's fooled because he opens it up and there is nothing. He calls back to headquarters who pokes his buttons a little bit and says, "No going home until you find it." And we cut over to the Occult Phenomenon Research Club. Change it, too long of a name. Where we meet Sasaki Aguchi.
Aguchi. I love the Aguchi name. That's such a good name to have.
I've got a nickname for this guy. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Aguchi Gucci Goo.
Oh, that was good.
I love that. All right, we're off the ground running. Here we are.
I've got one too.
Okay, what you got?
A Gucci mane.
Yes. They're here with Itadori, who's talking very intensely until it's revealed they are basically playing with like a Ouija board.
I was going to say it was a Luigi board. Have you ever played the game Luigi's Mansion?
I've dabbled a little bit. Pretty spooky. You know, not really my... I'm more the kind of guy that when I play a Mario franchise, I can only deal with a Boo's Castle, like 1 in 6 levels. So when it's just level after level, I've got those things, you know, staring down my back, and, you know, I got to keep turning each which way.
Dude. And you've got, like, the weird flashlight going on.
It's just really stressful for me, so I try and...
Now, see, I'm pretty sure Luigi's Mansion was built... The whole game was built on someone using a Luigi board and bringing in these ghosts and demons around.
Have you ever used a Luigi board?
I have.
Really?
I hate to admit it, I have. I was probably 12 or 13. And
talking with a ghost.
Well, not really.
Is this at the same friend's house? Because he's that kind of freaky guy that
he was. Sort of it wasn't at his though. Me and my buddy were playing with these like other females and males, and we kind of acted like, you know, the whole board was moving, but it was really just our hands just moving it.
Or was it? Great story.
Well, there's nothing more to it because we did that, and then everyone was like, "We saw you just move your hand." And it was just one of those.
It wasn't as spooky as it needed to be. So another grumpy man barges in, who Itadori calls Plankton President. SpongeBob Chronicles coming soon. So now the president is here to put an end to this phony club that they've got going on. The club members are acting pretty cocky, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a page turn. You know, the old listeners of the Podcast Chronicles, they're going to feel very nostalgic about it. Any new listeners or Season 4 listeners of Attack on Titan are going to think, hey, what the fuck was that obnoxious noise in my headphones? And would you like to break this down for the people, Chad?
There's not much to break down. It's my preferred method of communication. I write down with a pen or a pencil the notes that I'm taking, and then when I move on to the next page, I turn the page. Now,
I certainly wouldn't want to get dragged down by this paper fiasco, but I do feel like it needs a little backstory. See, you were a broke-ass bitch when we started this podcast. You still remain a broke-ass bitch, but we have managed to scrape up some upgrades. And you insisted on writing in notebooks with pen and paper as if you were still in 3rd grade in 2003. And you just never have seemed to try at all to turn a page quietly. So you hear it every single time. And then you finally upgraded to a laptop, even though when you were using the notebook, you said it was because it was your preferred notebook.
It was my preferred. Have you ever seen the SpongeBob episode where he's saying he's doing it while he's writing his essay?
Right, and then he's got the just very fancy.
Yes, that's how I felt last night. I did the notes last night. I repeatedly said I'm doing it. Didn't even have the show going. And I just look at the top of my page and it just says episode 1. I was like, wow, that was great.
Basically, the moral of the story is I hate you because you're fake. That's just a nice little.
That's not
just fake. A nice. That's a bow.
Guys, if you want to become one with yourself and one with nature, use a pen and paper. Stop using technology.
So, as I said, the club members are acting pretty cocky though. As Sasaki pulls out a book and asks Plankton about whether or not he knows about the closed rugby field.
All right, don't call this guy Plankton.
His name's Plankton.
That's not his name.
Itadori called him Plankton President.
Just call him President. I don't.
Plankton says yes, and that some of the students who fell ill were actually hospitalized. And Sasaki says that a bunch of the tough rugby players claimed to have heard stuff around the field before they fell ill. And the club found an article talking about the disappearance of a person who worked with the construction company, and it mentioned that he was last sighted here at the high school during construction. Wow.
On the field.
He had a couple spooky tales. Turns out the man had gotten in some trouble with loan sharks. So basically none of this thing matters.
Yeah, to me, it's just, this is loan sharks. I mean, come on. These loan sharks came, they killed him. There's nothing spooky going on.
Right. And Sasaki, she gets way too excited. She's screaming as if she's throwing Charizard into the battlefield because that's how sold she is on this ghost making these people sick. And Plankton wastes no time and says it was caused by ticks.
Yeah, I mean, it was leukemia not leukemia. What do they call it? What's the disease?
It's
Leif Erikson's.
Leif Erikson's disease?
Yes, it was Leif Erikson's disease from ticks, and Plankton just says it how it is.
I got to be honest. I wasn't sure how I felt about this Plankton guy, but he's the kind of guy that you have to respect. I feel like he's got the finger on the pulse of this school, and he makes the hard decisions, and he's not always liked for it, but respect. Yeah. So Itadori hits Plankton with a "so what," which is always a good backup plan. If you end up looking foolish, just hit him with a "so what."
Yeah, especially to your principal.
And Plankton says the real problem is Itadori himself because he is registered for track and field rather than the occult club, and therefore the club doesn't even have the necessary 3 members required for a club.
Get wrecked.
So Itadori's confused because he says he wrote down the right club when out of nowhere. Now, I'm going to go and preface this by saying we're getting ready to meet my favorite character of episode 1.
Okay.
Out of nowhere, there is an athletic gentleman in a green tracksuit that has just appeared in the room. Appeared out of thin air. In such a way that until proven otherwise, I am just assuming that Mr. Takagi here... Another word, Takagi, the track coach, can teleport whenever and wherever he needs to.
Yeah, he might be the ghost or whatever that they're looking for.
So I got to see some proof. Otherwise, that's how I'm operating. Deal with it.
How do you say his name again?
Takagi. He says that he was the one to change Itadori's club because they need him for nationals, which you got to respect a coach getting dirty and just changing official paperwork from students, forcing them into things that they don't really have an interest in.
Yeah, I love those type of teachers and people. Hey, when you have the talent, you should use that talent. Don't go spending your time using a Luigi board in the Oculate Club.
Mm-hmm. And this is the occult club, or it might be Oculate. And here's the first time that I realized we're definitely not on Attack on Titan anymore. This show is so anime. President Plankton...
I was so excited to see this part and see Ronnie's reaction.
He gets hit with a literal spotlight as he thinks to himself that this is a teacher who is more problematic than the students. Itadori is pissed because he's like, bro, how many times do I have to tell you I don't wanna? But Takagi is a baller. He challenges him to a competition. That's so epic. And we see the guy from earlier. We cut over to him, who he's followed directions and is still up from the night before. He's got to be pretty tired. Got some bags under his eyes. He's on the rugby field where, here's something. Blue monsters are swimming in the ground. No big deal.
Yeah, that was creepy.
He wonders if there's a dead body buried here, and let me be more professional, I apologize. This monster that looks like a huge blue wizard with an aggressive pair of dentures climbs up a pole and is actually referred to as a grade 2 curse.
Grade 2 curse.
So I'm sorry that I just simplified it to monster.
And that's not the one he wants.
No. The man says that he is surprised, though, to see it here, and it must be the cursed object's influence. So this thing's already a pretty big deal, and it's only here because of this stronger cursed object.
And what is a curse exactly? In your own definition.
It is you're making me fucking define a curse?
Yeah, I want to hear your opinion on what you think a curse is.
It's an item or being, I'll say, that's just filled with the dark arts.
That's good. That was a good one.
So he's looking at hey, don't tap your chair. He's looking at a picture on his phone, but this cursed object is elusive, and we're having a tough time finding it. Everyone be on the lookout. It's my note. And he walks further on to one hell of a competition. Coach Takagi has slipped out of the green warm-ups and is showing off one hell of a body.
Yeah, man. I feel like this older gentleman, he really just wanted to show off his body to these youngins, and it's a little creepy.
No, I don't think it's creepy. He's very respectful.
He's respectfully showing off his body?
Yeah, he walks around. First of all, he's old. You know how hard it is to look this good when you get older?
Wait, how old do you think he is?
I would say he's like late 30s.
Oh, this guy is so old. Late 30s is not old, Ronnie. We have listeners that are older than that.
Late 30s is, I'm not saying he's so old. I'm saying
there's beautiful, attractive women that age.
I'm saying to be late 30s, and you're a gym teacher at a high school, a retired athlete. I mean, because that's definitely what's going on. He used to be a killer athlete. He's retired now. It's easy to let all that hard work go. You've been training so much of your life. But Takagi, he's still got the willpower.
He does.
So don't.
Okay, you're right. I
don't
took
try
it a little
and
too far.
undermine his accomplishments. I don't like that.
He might be in his 40s, though. Late 30s, little.
But he looks so great. How can I not say 30s?
Well, I mean, there's professional athletes that are still playing in their late 30s. It's not like we have listeners.
Yeah,
who are
professional
in their 50s.
Athletes. He's a coach in high school, all right? And he's challenging and he's wearing muscle shirts in front of 16-year-old girls. And I think it's great. I think it's just terrific. He's got great
Ronnie.
form and throws the ball an impressive 14 meters. Now, here's what I like about the show.
Did you ever do shot put?
No, I never did shot put.
So I didn't know if you wanted to.
The only thing I shot put was food into my mouth.
Yeah, I do remember that, actually. I wanted to know if you knew how impressive 14 meters actually was.
Well, that's what I'm getting ready to say. If you would just grab your horses, wrangle them up, and hold them.
Horse take.
If you're like me and you have no idea if 14 meters is good or not, this show does a lot of good things. They put on the screen that Japan's national record is 18 meters. Pretty good for an old ball coach.
I mean, it's pretty good, yeah.
Pretty good. What are you doing?
Dude, I'm just saying, in America, we're a little bit better at shot put than over in Japan. And I've seen people...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You very familiar with the records of shot put
you want to know
across the countries?
You want to know an actual cool story?
Sure.
When I was in 8th grade, one of my buddies was number 2 in the nation in shot put.
Wow, 8th grade.
Yes.
So cool. That's almost as impressive as being 4th place on the Guitar Hero leaderboards. And here's the important part, the Nintendo Wii.
Yeah, and I was 11 or 12 playing against 16-year-olds with no jobs and no life, and I still beat them.
And how many meters was your 8th grade buddy throwing? Oh,
it's a good question.
You don't know.
Hey,
but he was at lunch one time and told you that he was the second best 8th grader, and you're like, oh, really?
I went and watched him. He was 6'2", like 200 pounds in 8th grade, and he could throw the shit out of a shot put.
I don't think you ever looked up 8th grade shot put records to confirm whatever lies this man said. How often do we say we're professional podcasters, but yet we've never made a cent on a podcast? People can say whatever they want, Chad.
I'm about to put my Venmo out there. It's getting harsh out in these streets.
So Itadori, he's getting some hype, and Gucci Gucci Goo tells Sasaki that he heard Itadori completed all stages of Ninja Warrior. Whoa. Takagi takes it easy on the little shrimp and tells him he can throw it however he likes. He won't call a foul. What a good sportsmanship.
You know what I was thinking?
Love Takagi.
So a shot put isn't, when you have better form, isn't it easier to throw it further though? So like, why he's basically saying throw it however you want. So he's going to change his form, and that's going to make him throw it even less further. So he's playing mind games with Itadori right here.
He's playing mind games, but I would assume that Itadori doesn't know the correct form, and if he had to try and do just off of watching Takagi, he's not going to throw it as far as if he just free balls it.
How would you throw it?
I would have to throw it like Itadori does, except maybe I would do a couple spins just for show. Because I'm very...
I would love to see you throw it like a baseball. You know how much this thing weighs?
I know. Okay, God, this guy's got one friend in 8th grade that he hasn't talked to in 10 years, and all of a sudden he's some shot put elitist.
No, I saw him.
How would you throw it? Hot shot?
I would throw it exactly like a shot put throws. I've been around the block a few times. My buddy, we're going way back. 14 or 15, he was demonstrating how to throw one to me in gym class, and I got it close to 14 meters.
He was throwing a tennis ball, ladies and gentlemen. So let's move on, because basically your entire argument's getting ready to... A shot put's getting ready to be thrown into your mouth. That's how stupid you sound after the way Itadori throws this thing. Because he casually reaches back and throws this thing a world record 23 meters. If there was a...
Whoa. Wait, a world record?
Well, I mean...
The entire world?
I can't imagine that Japan sucks so bad that they're 5 meters off the rest of the world. 5 entire meters? Are you, you're disrespecting... Okay, great. Now you're disrespecting Japan.
I'm not disrespecting Japan. They've done many great things. They've created anime. They created
You're telling
manga.
me Japan's national record is an entirely 25% worse than the rest of the world?
I mean, yeah, I'm thinking so.
All right. I'm just...
Most of the time, they're busy drawing and animating stuff, I would imagine.
I just don't even like what you're doing right now. My guy Takagi, he can't believe what he's just witnessed, and Itadori's club members are also impressed to the point that Sasaki says, when Itadori walks back up, you don't have to stay in the occult club for our sake. Itadori says they wouldn't be able to go to haunted places without him because I guess we got ourselves a couple of scaredy cats over here.
Wow, so they're the ones that want to be in the club and they're too scared to even do it?
I can respect this. They like the feeling, but it's like going on a scary roller coaster, right? You want to do it, but you got to make yourself do it. And then once you're there, you're like, oh yeah, this is fun.
This was a lot of fun. What was I being nervous for? And then when you get off of it, you just puke everywhere because you have terrible vertigo.
That's you. Itadori has no interest in these sports clubs and has his own reasons for wanting to be home by 5. Which,
okay,
kind of a weird thing for him to say, right?
Yeah.
You could just say, I like to get home early, but I don't know what is going on there.
That I just remember. This reminds me of when I was a youngin' and the stuff I would do before my parents would get home around 5:30. I would get home about 4:30. The stuff I would do for that hour while they were not home is just unfathomable.
Speaking of dark arts. By the way, while all of this is going on, Takagi is frozen in the background with a few rapscallions who are taking selfies and balancing shot put balls on his head. What is the ball called in shot put?
A shot ball.
It's a shot ball?
A ball. It's either a ball shot or a shot ball.
Wow, this guy knows his stuff. So the guy looking for the curses is also quite impressed with Itadori because he pulled that off without using any cursed energy. And Itadori runs off, and as he passes Mr. Curse Man, he notices the presence of a cursed object. But he can't catch up to old Itadori because his legs become wheels.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's anime. And We then see Itadori buying some flowers and making his way to the hospital, where his grumpy Gramps is saying how he told him not to come and how he wants him to stop bringing him flowers.
This is so sweet and beautiful. There's so many times I have bought flowers for people and brought it to them, and they said, I don't want you anywhere near me. Yeah. Don't bring me flowers. And I just keep doing it, and then eventually maybe the police gets involved and stuff.
Right.
But it's always a sweet gesture to do it to someone.
It's not so much that I don't think they wanted the flowers. That was a nice gesture. I'm thinking it was the restraining orders that they had in place that was the reason they didn't like you bringing the flowers.
Well,
But, you know. But no, Itadori, he's a sly dog. He knows how to play the game of love and says that they are actually for the nurses.
Oh.
And this is the grumpiest looking grump I've ever seen of all grumps. This guy right here. He starts to tell Itadori about his parents, but, Itadori tells him he doesn't want to hear about him and asks if he could stop trying to act all cool before he dies.
I like that.
That's, he's giving it back to him, which I respect.
Yeah.
You start to get a feel for this grandfather-grandson relationship.
That's kind of how I am with my grandparents. We just feed each other just bullshit like that. It's awesome.
It's a very hostile but weirdly kind conversation. It feels extremely healthy. And Grandpa turns away, closes his eyes, and then says, Yuji, you're a strong kid, so help others.
And that is Chaz's QOD.
Right there. All right, you kind of stepped on this beautiful poem of life lesson the Grandpa said, so I'm going to start over. But that's your quote of the day?
Just the first line right there. I don't want to continue it.
Yeah, I like for you to say it if it's yours.
I don't have it written down because I was expecting you to say it.
Well, it's your quote of the day, so you probably love it if it's your quote of the day. So you probably... It's a page flip. It's like he got lost in his notes. It was it was 6 words, so I think you got this.
Itadori.
Well, he says Yuji.
Well, I'm saying this is directed towards Itadori, but it's or Yuji, as some people would call him.
Yeah, well,
you're a strong kid, so help others.
Nailed it. He just had to look for it in his notes a second. He said he didn't write it down, but it's very clear that he did write it down. So don't know why he lied. And if we didn't say that line enough, here I'm going to say it again because we're very thorough.
Well, hold on. Before you say it, the reason it hit me so hard is because no one's ever called me strong before.
Right. Well, I think you typically only call people strong if they are strong, which hints what you got going.
But...
So I'm going to say this quote now.
Okay.
You're a strong kid, so help others, even if it's only those closest to you. Just save the people you can. It's okay if you lose your way, and don't worry about whether they'll thank you or not. Just save as many people as you can, even if it's only one. When you die, you should end up surrounded by people. Don't be like me. And then he fucking dies.
Yeah. This guy's been holding that in until the very last second. Dude, this always gets straight to my soul and to my teardrops in my heart whenever someone says, don't be like me. Mm-hmm. Because, we don't want to be an old grumpy man that's sitting in the hospital, bitching at nurses. And now he's finally telling Yuji that right before he closes his eyes and passes away. And it's beautiful. It's
a really, interesting relationship because... I've heard from different podcasts or interviews or whatever where
you listen to other podcasts?
Yeah, where Japanese people will talk about their relatives and how they have a hard time expressing love, and I thought this was a great way that the grandpa feels like he knows he's at the end of his ropes. He's always joking and picking on Yuji, and so he can't even say it to his face. He's got to turn away to not look at him in his eyes, but is able to get this last. Just beautiful little speech here. Just a great combo.
It is weird. That culture is kind of it's like they respect them more after they're passed.
Right. And I'm not making assumptions here. This is just what I've heard. I'm sure there's plenty that probably do show love well, but that's
I've seen Mulan.
I think that it was a cool way that they kind of showed that. So we move on. Let me get your take, Chaz. But it seems like, to me, this is just what I picked up on. one of these nurses starts flirting it up a little bit with Itadori literally seconds after he signs his grandfather's death certificate.
Yeah, it's the classic lady move. The ladies are always like this. They just take advantage of men whenever they're at their lowest
They're
points.
just always all over you. Even you have relatives die, and next thing you know, they're just like, as you're signing the death certificate, they're leaning over and being like, so what are you doing tomorrow? It's just, God.
So,
God, we have so many girlfriends. It's ridiculous. Jeez.
by that you mean 0.
I just want someone to love me. So, like I said, she's leaning over on the desk, giving him some smiles and kind eyes, and he looks up, and who is standing in the shadows? None other than
his grandpa.
Here we go.
Oh.
Fushiguro? What do you think? Fushiguro?
Yeah. No, not fishy girl.
Okay.
Fushiguro.
Can we be serious for a second,
Yes.
Mr. Fishy Girl? I want to get this right.
Okay.
And see, you're laughing and saying Fishy Girl.
I'm not laughing.
Well, you're laughing because you're smiling.
I'm not smiling.
And you're giggling like a little schoolgirl.
My beautiful face.
I'm being serious here. We're professional podcasters. Get your fucking
Dude,
act
okay, speaking
together.
of my face, man, before we go over this, let's talk about this.
All right.
Shaved my beard off, my luscious flowers on my face. And
Don't call them flowers.
And you...
They were pube-sized hairs.
I walk into work. Mm-hmm. That's besides the point.
Yep.
I walk into work. I've got my just gorgeous face there.
Right.
And, well, not gorgeous. I'm not going to call myself gorgeous.
Just like...
clean
really
baby face.
toot your own horn over there, buddy.
Clean baby face. And I walk up to you, start talking to you, and I have to say to you, because you don't mention it,
Right.
thanks. I like my face shaved too.
Yeah.
You would think your best bud, or apparently best bud, would say something about your beard being on.
Interesting that you're just going to assume you're my best bud. And I'm happy to address this. I'll say this. I often get haircuts, and you never have anything to say about them.
It's
so
different.
No,
It's
not
different because you wear a hat, and I can't see under your hat.
It gets cleaned up around the edges, gets shaved in the back. So if you can
Actually, I don't look at the back of your head. I look at the front of your head.
We work 8
like
hours a day, 5 days a week. So it seems like, I know you love to make eye contact with me because I've got beautiful pools of mud because it's kind of a brown hazel situation going on. Just start complimenting my haircuts. And maybe I'll start saying something about your little kid baby face. You look like you're 8 years old. Is that what you wanted me to say, Chaz?
No, I wanted you to say...
is that what you wanted? You wanted me to say, hey, I got to start being careful around you because you look like you're 14.
No, I didn't want you to... I wanted you to say maybe a girl will actually like you now. And by girl, the only girl that would is somebody that's 15 because I look like I'm 15. And multiple people at work even said, you look like you're underage now and that you shouldn't even be here. You should be in school.
And they laughed. And they laughed.
Yeah, they laughed. So, yeah, I'm never doing it again. So, thanks for nothing. Let's talk about fishy girls.
So, Fushiguro. Huh?
Fushiguro. I thought it was Fushiguro. No, Fushiguro, right?
Fushiguro?
Is it Fushiguro or Fushiguro?
Let me see if there's a way. Let me see if there's a YouTube tutorial that tells me how to say it. Just so intimidated. And you try and listen inside the episode, and they talk. I can't do it. I can't figure out when they're saying a word, and it's very intimidating. And sub over dub, so I don't go over the dub. And my laptop sounds like it's exploding. Fushiguro. Where's your laptop?
Fushiguro. It's Fushiguro. We just heard it.
Fushiguro. My laptop's getting ready to explode.
Yeah, you might want to bring it back down to where you were.
Jeez. It sounds like a jet engine is taking off.
Pronounce.
Fushiguro.
Pronounce.
It's not a cat from Pinocchio.
It looks like there aren't many great matches. You know what? Just say however you want to say it.
No, dude, I found a thing.
What did you type in?
I said how to pronounce Fushiguro.
How do you spell it? Maybe I spelled it way off.
Oh my god, this fucking guy. Fushi.
Whoa.
And now, wow, this is
Fushi. Fushi.
You read the subtitles.
Fushi.
And then I type things out how I'm going to say it.
Fushiguro. It is definitely Fushiguro.
Did you find the website?
Yep.
Fushiguro.
Did you get that? Let's do it one more time.
Fushiguro.
All right. Thank you, Mom, for pronouncing that.
All right, so Fushiguro's here, and no, I'm just kidding. Fushiguro, right? That's what you heard?
Yes.
God, I'm so can we call him Fushi?
Just fucking say it. You know what? Fushi. I like Fushi a lot.
We're going to call him Fushi until people...
Hate sushi, but I like Fushi.
So he says he's from Jujutsu High. They step aside, and we cut to Itadori apologizing for being in mourning right now, even though he's just flirting it up with the old nurse.
Yeah.
And Fushi says sorry that there's not time.
He's in that morning wood.
Because the cursed object you possess is very dangerous. He shows him a picture of it, and Itadori's like, oh yeah, I found that. What do you mean, dangerous? Fushi says the number of unexplained deaths and missing persons within Japan exceeds 10,000 a year on average, and most of those are the result of curses.
Dude, that's a lot. Is that a true statement? Obviously not.
Yes. Yeah, that's a true statement, Chaz.
I wonder if the over 10,000 is a true statement other than it actually being curses. Will you look that up?
Look that up real quick. This podcast is just us looking things up. So most of those are the result of curses. Itadori is mourning so hard that he takes his time to lay down on a bench, clearly very concerned. Fushi goes on to say that large pools of negative energy form especially easily in schools, hospitals, and so on. Negative emotions such as hardship, regret, shame become the source of such curses, and that's why most schools secretly keep a cursed object, such as a protective talisman.
So do these schools even know that they're keeping that, or the jujitsu people just put them
they just like plant them there?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Good work by you. The object Itadori found is one of these curses, and Fushi says placing a cursed object of greater evil is a deadly poison that keeps other curses away. It's a bad practice that only claims to protect. Over the years, its seal weakens, and then it becomes bait to lure in and fatten up other curses. So basically, here's the way. That's a lot of, very curse talk, can kind of be confusing. The way I simplified it for myself, we got a page turn going on over there. Think of the other weak curses as Ronny, and strong curses with the seal weakening, like them flipping the Krispy Kreme hot light on. I'm going to be attracted to it every time in hopes that it will fatten me up.
Nice. I like that. That makes, honestly, I get this show a little bit more now.
Hey, that's
using that analogy.
That's what we're here for. So the curse that Itadori found is classified as special grade, and he needs to hand it over before people start dying.
Whoa.
And he didn't have a problem with that. He hands an empty box to him and says, my senpai has it. He goes on to say, as a matter of fact, they were talking about removing the talisman tonight at school, which leads to an absolute look of horror on Fushi's face, as Itadori, who listens about as well as Chad does, asks, is that bad?
Yeah, Fugi. Is it Fugi or Fushi? What are we calling it?
Fushi.
Okay.
You remember you had that awesome sushi joke?
Oh, dude, I fucking hate sushi.
Yeah, that's what you said in that awesome sushi joke.
Oh, that's not a joke. I hate sushi.
So, Fushi tells him it's worse than bad. They are going to die. Cut over to Aguchi and Sasaki, who is struggling with the wrapping on the cursed object. They're using the time to get real spooky in the candlelight. They got the lights off. They've snuck into the school. Some serious, scary stuff going on. This is some
opulent stuff going.
She starts to unwrap the item, which ends up being a scraggly, terrifying, decaying human finger. Gross.
Yeah, it's just a fat old phalange sitting
My
there.
note right here is quite simply gross. And naturally, the candle is blown out, and miscellaneous open mouths and eyeballs start protruding from the ceiling above.
Ugh. Is this fingernail painted? No,
I think it's decayed so it's just turned black. You ever see someone who like bruises their toe or whatever, and their toenail just turns black?
And then it falls off.
Ugh. So Itadori and Fushi are running towards the school. Fushi says usually it's impossible for people who lacked cursed energy to unveil a talisman, but in this case, the curse is so strong and the seal is so weak, it might as well be paper. Itadori runs up to the school and is smacked by some cursed energy. Fushi runs up and tells him to stay there. We cut to the hallways.
And didn't he say this is the first time he's ever felt or seen this?
Yeah, Itadori. This is something he's not familiar with.
Yeah.
We cut to the hallways where the monster is up and walking, and it asked what any curse would ask. Do you know what that is, Chaz?
Let me try it right here.
And can you translate for us?
Yes. Where is the phalange?
No, it just wants to know what time it is.
No. Does it actually say that?
Yes, it says, what time is it?
Oh.
What did you say? What was that terrible thing that you made up on the spot?
Where's the phalange? The finger? I think he's looking for it.
Okay. So Gucci walks up and Sasaki is relieved to see him until it's revealed that a little gremlin thing is wrapping its mouth around his head. The other monster, it grabs a hold of Sasaki, which I can't help but feel like could have been avoided if they just told my guy what time it is. He's late for an appointment. Fushi busts in to see a giant purple worm surrounded in eyeballs and a pair of Kylie Jenner lips. He calls for his demon dogs, which leads... We got two little puppy dogs appearing out of thin air.
This
Doggies.
is the coolest part of the episode by far. I love these little guys.
Doggies, dude.
Which one's your favorite?
It depends how I feel, you know? I like the little white one. I like the black one.
I like both of them, but for some reason, the little white one makes me think of just snow, and I like snow a lot.
So you like the white? Okay, I'll take the black one.
Okay.
All right, mine's the black one. Yours is the white one. All right.
What are you going to name him?
I think he's already got a name. I would, it's not my dog. I just want to cheer for him. He's my little puppy. Okay. Yay. So Itadori's still standing outside watching purplish blue aura streaming out of the school. He tries to make himself not scared. He thinks back to his grandfather and the words that he told him. We cut back inside. We're going back and forth quickly here. The demon dogs and Fushi are hauling ass through the hallways. The dogs are eating up curses on the way when they turn the corner and see one curse just really exploring the mountains and valleys that is Sasaki's body. Very inappropriate touching going on here.
I'm not a fan. Dude, are these curses supposed to be like humans or something?
They should join our Discord because they're horny as fuck.
Yeah.
These monsters.
They're asking what time it is. Now they're indulging on some human... Like, are they supposed to be... previous humans that are now curses, or how does this work?
We don't know, dude. Episode 1. I will say once again, hold your horses. All right. Episode 1. We don't have all the answers yet.
Give me that horse emoji.
And also, if you were listening to me earlier, you would have heard that curses come from the negative emotions that people feel. So
yes, negative emotions, but how else would they appear without like a human sorcery body type to indulge on it? I don't know.
So very inappropriate touching going on.
I was high as balls when I watched these.
And don't say that. And it's not fair because we don't like illegal substances on this podcast. It's not fair that it's touching this way because the thing has like 8 hands. And Fushi sees that the monster is trying to swallow not only her but also the cursed object. He freezes, doesn't know what to do, and just when all hope is lost, the monster looks out of the corner of its eyes, where we see a heroic Itadori leap up, kick in the window, and give this thing a real good
what the hell
knuckle
is this
sandwich.
Guy? He said they were 4 levels up, and he just jumps up
Dude.
and kicks in the... What the hell
What's
is
going
this
on
guy?
with this guy? Huh?
Does he have springs in his knees?
Well, he can jump 4 levels, but you still were trying to, fight me on the fact that he had the world record shot put.
Well, I'm still not bought on him being... that athletic. He's got to do some more things.
We got to see what else this guy's really got before we just get this guy on the team. So after the knuckle sandwich, Fushi finishes off the curse and has no choice but to give Itadori some credit.
And he gets the demon dogs to eat him. Oh,
yeah.
That was beautiful.
So the demon dogs start eating him.
Circle of life.
Itadori asks, what's that munching on the curse? And Fushi says it's his Shikigami.
Ooh, that reminds me of like a Death Note type thing.
I'm going to go ahead and warn everyone. We will keep referring to them as doggies, puppers, cutie little patooties.
Okay.
We will not be saying Shikigamis because...
Well, we're not going to say cutie little patooties because...
Why am I calling him a little cutie little patootie? Look at him. Good boys, just
Snowy.
cleaning.
I like gonna name him Snowy.
Good. I wonder if they're both boys, both girls. What do we got going? Just my little dog's a good little girl. She would eat monsters if I told her to. Yeah. So Fushi says that curses typically can't be seen unless you're on the verge of death or in special places like this. Special places like this, such as right outside the classroom of Mrs. Jameson's 10th grade English class. It's just a special place.
Opulence.
Itadori casually just says, oh, that makes sense. I haven't seen a ghost before tonight. He's very much more calm than I would be in this situation. Fushi seems shocked that Itadori's not scared, as am I, which is why I just said that. Yeah. And I should have read further in my notes.
You really should have and been prepared like I am.
You know, he says he was for a bit, but did you know people can really die? And Fushi has the correct response to this statement, which is, huh?
I've never thought about that. Until he just said that, I've never really fully thought about it, and it's got me thinking last night.
Itadori goes on to say, so I at least want the people I know to have proper deaths. He starts to stand up as the finger slips, but he catches it. Fushi says that the special grade cursed object, Ryomen Sukuna's finger, and that it's a blessing that it didn't get swallowed. Itadori asks if it tastes good. And listen, I know sometimes stuff doesn't look great but can taste good, but in this case, I would like to just say, look at it.
No.
Hey, look at it.
He's definitely still in mourning for asking a question like that.
Looks like a finger that's been held up in a butthole for 45 years.
Okay, that's not...
Does it not look like that?
I'm not going to talk about bee holes on this podcast.
But does it look like that? I'm not wrong.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I'm not going to talk about bee holes on this pod.
So Fuji says you would eat it to gain stronger cursed energy. He asked for him to hand it over, but just then, a giant hand comes from the ceiling. Things love coming from the ceiling in the show. I went ahead and learned that. Grabbing Fushiguro and belongs to no one other than Big Blue Lizard Guy from earlier. Everyone remembers this guy.
You should have killed him when you had the chance.
When he was swimming around midfield of the rugby field. He throws Fushi against the wall, causing the demon dogs to melt away. Bye, puppies.
Aww.
They'll be okay, I think. The monster busts through the wall, taking Fushi with him. Itadori gets involved as Fushi tells him to run away with the other two. Only people who can exercise curses can beat other curses.
So we've got a little, what's it called here? Hold on, let me think.
Sometimes I'm going to refer to these monsters as monsters because there's a lot of curse talk in this show. So if you say curses a lot, it's kind of...
Dang, I can't remember. I've seen so many things, I can't remember what I was going to say. Great podcasting.
Can you say what you just said again so people can really let that sink in?
I have seen so many things that I can't remember what I was going to say.
So fucking stupid. All right. Thank you. Okay. Itadori's in too deep now, so he continues to fight this thing, saying, anyways, I already got my own troublesome curse, as he once again thinks back to his grandpa's final words. The finger gets knocked out of his hand and is falling through the air. Itadori catches it with his teeth as he is held by the monster who is trying to eat him. Without any other choices, he flicks it up into the air and swallows it in one bite.
Dude.
This just, I did not...
Can you imagine just swallowing a phalange whole?
It's the nail. It's the nail that I think about sliding down my scraping the sides of my throat that I just really makes me...
Because with you, you've never had nails. Things with nails go down your throat. You've had other things, but...
Fushi's terrified. I'm terrified. Were you terrified?
Yeah.
Okay. And thinking to himself,
but it's good though. There's only 1 in a million chance that something bad.
Right. He does. Thanks for stepping on this. Thinking to himself that it's a deadly poison and that he'll die for sure. But, and you guys haven't heard this yet, there's a 1 in a million chance, and cursed energy explodes from Itadori, allowing him to escape the monster. The monster comes charging at him again, but it is decimated into a million pieces by more energy.
Beautiful animation there. I mean, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Where was this animation in the last show we watched?
Whoa. Jeez.
I'm just kidding. I've seen people complaining about it. I just had to throw that in there.
Damn. As we pan down to see that Itadori all of a sudden got a badass manicure. He's got some long nails and a couple of face tats.
Well, are these the ones that you kind of just peel off of a sticker and put on you? That's what I was thinking they were. They're not.
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
He sure got them on there really quickly somehow. I don't know how he got access to enough water.
That's true. You got to
enough
dampen
pressure.
On there. Yeah.
You got to really hold that thing for a few seconds to get a good
strong
result.
Lad.
But we're not sure of him as an athlete, right? We need more proof. Is that what you said earlier?
A few more episode proof.
He's got the badass makeover, and he also has another set of eyeballs, because if there's one thing I've learned about this show, it's that things love to come out of the ceiling, and also it loves eyeballs. A lot of eyes in this episode. He starts to evil laugh as he rips off his shirt. Okay, calm down.
Whoa.
Got a Chaz in the room. Fushi thinks to himself that this was the worst 1 in a million chance. The special grade cursed object has incarnated. And boy, oh boy, this is a real Chad curse. 5 seconds in human flesh, and it's not as kind as the other monsters wanting to know the time. This one wants to know, where are the women?
And the children.
Be careful, monster. You seem like a pretty bad guy, but we don't have to be a bad guy,
Yeah.
right? Be careful.
Maybe he's not thinking of it in a bad way, though.
The curse stands up on the side of the bridge and says, what a wonderful era to be in. Women and children are crawling everywhere like maggots.
Never mind.
It'll be a massacre.
I thought he was talking good about him at first, but as soon as he said they're crawling around like maggots, it kind of changed the tone.
That made me a little more nervous, too. Itadori regains control of himself momentarily and says to give his body back. The cursed object is surprised that he is able to move and that Itadori can surprise him.
How does this Dumbo Itadori, how is he able to control this guy? And don't say he's an athlete.
He's an athlete. Fushi yells out to not move and says that he's no longer human. He goes on to say, under Jujutsu regulations, Itadori Yuji, I will exorcise you as a curse. End of episode.
He doesn't need exercise. His body's got plenty of it.
So, what did you think of this first episode?
I liked the cliffhanger a lot at the end.
Yeah, I agree. I like the characters enough, but there weren't any characters that just like really grabbed me. I was like, I got to see what happens to this person. And I wasn't sure how I felt about just like this monster show. But once he swallows the finger and you kind of see you're definitely like, oh, I want to see the next episode.
That's the character I like is
and
Sukuna, the guy he turns into.
Right. And to not get too ahead of myself, the next episode is really something. But with that being said, this is a little part of the podcast we like to call Learn a Little Something About Ronny and Chad. And just for the new people out there, could you break this down a little bit? It's kind of
for anybody that
complex.
hasn't listened to this pod. Basically, what we do in this segment is we learn a little something about Ronny and Chad.
Yeah, so basically, we're not talking about Jujutsu Kaisen anymore. If you're not interested in our bullshit, we're just gonna answer a couple questions an episode that we get that you can participate in by asking questions on Discord. We got a Discord link in the description below. You can follow us on Twitter at podcastchronic or email us at thepodcastchronicles@gmail.com.
And you can subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave some comments. Leave a thumbs up.
First question comes from Armin's dirty old grandpa. Interesting time of year in the sports calendar. College basketball just had its championship game. Masters this weekend. What would be y'all's dream sporting event to broadcast together?
Oh, wow.
Me and you.
Great question.
At the helm, we snuck in some way. We locked Jim Nance in a janitor room.
I'm glad you said Jim Nance, because I think if we covered the Masters, we could make that shit so interesting.
We're going to so we got Vern Lundquist and Jim Nance in the janitor room. We've taken over, and, we
got them tied up.
And we're just like, and next, this shot comes, Chad, be careful. I see you looking at some of the women out there on the green today.
Oh, and he hits this ball right over the water.
Yeah, he's got to be happy with that one.
And then we just start yelling. He makes it. We're like, oh my God.
And that's actually just what we came prepared with. The shot actually goes 50 feet back into the woods. And we're like, oh, and it turns out he's in the rough now. So I do know that he's got to play it where it lands. So we'll see what happens next.
This guy is fucking awful.
Can you work on your golf announcer voice?
This guy is fucking awful.
Thank you. We'll just leave it at that. I think we got our point across. Catherine says, question for the podcast. I didn't need to read that part. I was curious.
Thanks, Catherine.
I was curious about how, so Catherine says, question for the podcast, but like I said earlier, didn't need to read that part. I was curious about how you guys decided to start a podcast. What was that conversation like? And how did you decide on Attack on Titan? Basically, she just wants the Podcast Chronicles origin story. Chad's going to yawn for about 15 seconds, and he's going to go and answer that question.
Oh, I have to answer it?
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure you don't remember, so I just want you to make up a story.
I'm not making up a story, dude. I fucking remember. Of course I remember. I remember like it was yesterday. Mm-hmm. I remember like it was last year in July.
Yep.
So, basically, I became a huge weeb this past couple years, and I've been trying to get Ronny to watch all these different animes, and he was just not really having it. He kind of got into Death Note. He was like, yo, you should watch that, because I hadn't really watched anything either. And then finally I said, all right, dude, Attack on Titan is my favorite, I think. I had only watched it once at this point. Now I've seen it like 8 times, so I'm...
Right.
Yeah. But I told him, I was like, you got to watch it. He watched like the first 4 episodes. Took like another month, and he's like, yeah, I haven't seen any more. And I was like, wow. So he's just done with that show, I guess.
Such a busy guy. I've got all kind of business meetings to attend to.
I was like, well, this guy's a loser. And then now you take off kind of how you started, because you kind of brought up the idea. It wasn't me.
Yeah, I honestly don't even remember how one of us first said it. I had watched it. I liked the show. And
I didn't like the show, but... Be honest, you watched it in dub, you thought it was shit, and then you went to sub, and you're like, okay, this is good.
I liked the premise of the show. The dub was a little bit too much for me. I watched it in sub, enjoyed it much better, and I'm the type of person who, we work in it's a very prominent warehouse. Like, it's very, it's a warehouse, but it's very business-like, and a lot of business deals get done. We definitely don't, move boxes or anything. And so anyway... since we do that important work, but people kind of leave us to ourselves, I like to plug in and listen to podcasts for most of the time. So when I watch shows, I often look for podcasts, and there wasn't a podcast on it. And I said, hey, or there was one podcast.
Yeah.
I said, we could do this, kind of as a joke, because I never thought in a million years you would have the patience to do a podcast. And you shocked me, and you were kind of like, yeah, we can do it. And so... We bought,
so was it $500 or $600?
They were like $500, $600 microphones from Amazon, and we just started doing it. One thing led to another, and we kept doing it, and now we're here.
And then we eventually bought $1,000 mics. We kept upgrading, mic stands.
That's kind of the origin story.
That's the origin, but I will...
Now you're kind of talking about the journey.
Well, that's the journey, but to continue on the origin story... We probably, when we started the very first episode, I think we thought we might make it through 5, right? And then,
I thought we might make it through 5 because I could not see you consistently taking notes and then us getting together and recording this every single, and for the beginning we had to hustle to get caught up.
We hustled.
That we recorded 2 times a week. and each time we would do like 3 episodes. So that was quite a grind, and we got through it. And since then, it's just been fun because when we did it, we were having fun, like we were laughing and stuff, and no one was listening. And we slowly got a few listeners here, a few listeners there. And now it's just a lot of fun with just like this little bitty community we've built up. So that just makes it even more fun.
And yeah, I don't like how you said you didn't expect me to keep grinding and going.
I mean, honestly, it's a compliment because I couldn't believe, and I still don't. I'll say this too. I still am surprised every week when you show up and you actually have taken notes.
See, I'm going to compliment you here. You gave me a compliment, I'll compliment you.
Oh, thanks.
I figured you would be the biggest dickhead on every episode, would take it so serious, and if I like chuckled or anything, you would slap me across the face. But luckily, you seem to have some fun with it, and you kind of just roll with the punches, and you're not as big of a dick as I thought. So there's a compliment.
Yeah, if you're a new listener, I would say that we like to rip on the show. Sometimes we laugh at the characters, but ultimately we care, and it's our personalities. We're just dick. Our tagline is 2 assholes recording a podcast with mics they bought from Amazon. That's just what will always be.
Yeah, well, we're never going to change.
Never changing. And Kyle, you all right? Mm-hmm. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No.
All right. So that is Season 1, Episode 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen in the books. This should be released Sunday night. Should be ready for your work commute or work day, Monday. And the next one we're going to drop on Thursday night and should be ready
your school.
for
You can
Friday.
listen to this while you're at school.
Well, we've said this before. I'll say it again. Probably shouldn't be listening to us if you're underage because we are some despicable human beings. And Chaz is just not that good of a person.
Okay, you can learn a lot of life lessons from me, but wait till you're 18 to learn them.
So thanks for listening. I've been Ronnie.
I've been Chaz.
We'll talk with you later. Peace.
Peace.